again. It's time for a new episode here at Chicken Bone Alley. I'm David.
I'm Sterling. What's up, guys and girls?
Well,
Another quarantine week.
week 4 of our.
It is week 4. It seems like
Three,
it's like
four.
3 months into it. I don't know.
It's the longest. I think it's about the 87th Monday in
No,
April right now.
I hadn't.
Even though it's not Monday at
I
all.
hadn't had toilet paper in 2 weeks.
Corn
I don't know what
cobs
I'm
were
gonna do.
good, but corn cobs were real good.
Dude, I went. They didn't have T-piece. So I bought all the cheese they had. That was my only other option. That was it.
Just top it up. Well.
That's all
plug
I
the
had.
hole. Just plug the hole.
Whatever it takes. You gotta do what you gotta do. You know.
I mean, whatever. I mean, I hope all y'all getting along pretty good. It's been eventful. Our governor has finally gave us the stay at work stay at home or go to work little spiel, but it's not really stay at work or go to home.
Well, I mean, I
or
think
stay
it's
at home
just,
or go to work, whatever it is.
I think it's kind of just get everybody to whatever they can do to kind of minimize the people that's out and about. But everybody's still gonna go. Still got to go to the grocery store. Still got to go to the drugstore. Still got to go pick strawberries. Whatever you gonna do. For us, we still got to work. But I think it just kind of gets the majority of the people off the road somewhat. But like I said the other day, you can ride around in your truck. What's that hurting? I mean, ain't hurting anything to me. But
no, it was not at all. I don't really get it because if you, it was funny. I know for some of y'all out there, it's probably not funny at all, and it's not funny here. Don't get me wrong, but it was funny because he says, "Stay at home or go to work," and then all of a sudden he says, "Well, you can go to the essential services or goods places, which are listed as automotive shops, grocery stores, obviously. That includes also liquor stores."
Oh yeah,
and
sporting goods stores that sells firearms.
Yeah, that sell firearms.
I hate it for Dick's.
Dick's closed now. Hi, that's funny.
I love it.
Quit selling guns. You got to shut down now. So, but anyway, and then it said you can be on the road en route to recreation. So
yeah,
we can still go fishing.
You just can't exercise with nobody, or you can fish.
We can go fishing
with 3 people in your boat, I guess. But
well, it depends who you talk to. Some people said 2. I don't really know. The old man at the
either.
landing the other day wasn't too nice about it.
No, he wasn't. And speaking of that, we went last weekend because there really wasn't a whole lot else to do. But we went. They shut down all, I guess, government funded
public boat landings.
So. We had a word, around Santee down here where if there's a paid boat landing, pay to launch a boat
or private,
you can go. So we found us a good spot here down there in Jacks Creek to go, and obviously we were not the only ones that had that idea, because I think we got there at like 6:45 that morning, and we were probably the 50th boat in line.
It seemed like
it was
about a quarter mile back there, I'm pretty sure.
It was unbelievable. So we waited like an hour and a half to put the boat in the water and had a good day. We enjoyed it. If you ain't racing, I guess fishing's about the best thing else you can do. So, but anyway, leaving out of there was the same deal, man. It took us an hour and a half to get out, and it was crazy. But I don't know. At least we can still get out and do a little something, I reckon. Yeah,
it's a whole lot better than nothing. I hate the whole lockdown thing, and I just hope they don't get too crazy with it around here. I saw in the news today that this former police officer got arrested yesterday, for throwing softball in his neighborhood, but they were at a little park in the neighborhood throwing a softball with his daughter. They arrested him for it. Wow. That's overstepping boundaries, in my opinion, when you arrested a man for that.
We all the amendments that we have kind of supersedes, in my opinion, what these government officials are telling us to do, because they can suggest it, but I don't see how they can enforce it, really. I don't know. I just, I'm all for helping the cause. I'm all for trying to do my part and not to spread or get or carry or whatever the hell they call it. But, you start mandating people to do this, what's the first thing they going to do? not do it.
They're going to do the exact opposite
I
of
promise
what you say.
So, you I think they just going a little bit too far with it. But now I am for all the older people, the older folks that even if they're essential workers that are 55, 60 and over. I think that they need to stay home. My opinion, just to keep them, just because they're more apt to get it and it affect them worse than the younger crowd. But I don't know, man. I'm hoping this getting towards the peak here and start going the other way. I heard that Wuhan, whatever, China, they've lifted all their
they lifted
deals,
everything.
so they're back to normal.
Yeah, and actually here, and I saw North Carolina. I'm not sure about everywhere else. They had these projections of how many cases and how many deaths they were going to have from it. And they said South Carolina's and North Carolina dropped drastically on the predictions. So it's looking better. It looks like everybody's staying inside, doing what they need to do, staying away from everybody for the most part. Still getting some cases of it, but also from what I hear, they just counting if you die right now from any natural cause, they're just calling it from coronavirus. So we don't really know if they died from a heart attack. They don't know if they died from the flu or whatever, and it sucks. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a huge conspiracy theorist by no means, but I hate it when the media blows stuff up beyond what it needs to be. But I don't know how much of that's going on, but it seems like a little bit. So I don't want to get into all the politics of all that stuff, but
nah.
But it can be kind of sucky. But anyway, let's talk about some racing. Get off of downer stuff.
Well, again, I think we pretty much covered what racing we have last week, and that's pretty much what we got this week. We got some iRacing, which I'm not knocking at all. I love iRacing, and I'm again, like I said last week, I'm very thankful that this is out there for us to be able to watch now and get hooked in along with it, because like I said before, we have some rigs ourselves, so it's a whole lot of fun being able to get on there and try to run along with these guys what we can and practice with them and different things. But last week I think we were watching the World of Outlaw race live on Fox while we were recording.
Yep.
And so we can kind of talk about it a little bit. I know Christopher Bell dominated on the freaking wall in the 410 sprints. Yeah,
Kevin Swindell led for a good bit, and then once the groove moved on up to the wall, Christopher Bell was locked right on it in a perfect spot. He knew exactly how to run around that track.
And I'm telling you, I mean, us running it firsthand, Dave was running them 410s at Charlotte more than I, but he can tell you firsthand that is the toughest line to run around that racetrack. It is ridiculously hard to keep that right rear that close to the wall and not hit it, because if you hit it, you're done.
Yeah, it feels like you're literally, you're literally inches from the wall there, and that's how they run around there in real life, which is what's really cool. We've been to the was it the World Finals? Yeah, we've been to the World Finals at Charlotte and watched them guys, the sprint cars and the super late models. We've watched them guys around there, and that's where the groove goes. It grows all the way that's a wide track, really wide.
Very.
They can run 4 wide around that track under green flag conditions. I mean, and race 4 wide. And when it goes to the wall, they are inches from the wall. And if you touch it, especially in the sprint cars, man, you're liable to flip the car. I mean, it'll catch and roll and do all kind of crazy stuff.
It is very, very tough. So, anyway, hats off to Christopher Bell for being able to drive the car like that. That is very tough to do. So that kind of shows me a lot. His ability to drive a real 410 sprint is no joke because of what he can do in that. It's so realistic, and obviously, I mean, it goes hand in hand what goes on in a real car versus that.
Well, it's crazy to me because if you look at it, it seems like the dirt side of stuff, and dirt was the last thing to get added to iRacing. We've had asphalt on there forever. I mean, that's what it started with. You ran, I think Richmond was one of the first tracks, and they've evolved from there. They have almost every Cup track now. I think they have about all of them. I think there might be one or two that don't have. But anyway, they got pretty much every Cup track, and the Cup guys can get on there, and it's night and day difference because the guys that run up front in Cup cars aren't the ones running up front on the iRacing Cup cars. But on the iRacing dirt side, typically the guys that's running up front in the dirt stuff run up front on iRacing too.
Yeah, they do. I think that's what it's got a lot to do with. They spend a lot of time and effort in figuring out the dirt and figuring out how it breaks down and throughout a race and how the line moves, how the cushion moves. And, I think the cushion, they got a little more work to figure out. But the line, how it moves is very similar to in real life. And what I can tell different from what little bit I know about driving a race car in real life and versus iRacing is on asphalt in a Cup car is so aero dependent,
right?
Where I don't feel that and don't see that as much in actual iRacing as I do in real life. Now, it does make a difference when you run it too wide sometimes.
Or drafting on the super speedways.
Right. It makes a difference that, but as far as being able to pass and being able, it's a little bit different. But again, I will say too, I ran Chicagoland today actually, an Xfinity car, and very similar to how it is in real life. If you do not start bottom, you freaking done, because I restarted fourth today and shot back to ninth just to get on the bottom, and then I had to work my way back up. And I tell you what, if you do not get that car down in the bottom, you're done. And so there's a little bit of differences there, but just like, for instance, like they were saying earlier in the year, Homestead, Miami, the line in real life moves up to the wall.
Right.
And Jeff Gore was even saying it, you run that line, you kind of get a buffer of air in between the car and the wall, which allows you to kind of stick right there, and you can run and you can save tire, or even when tires wear, you can actually make up time up there. But they haven't really mastered that in iRacing, I don't think, yet.
No, they haven't. But it's just like even our boy or our dude Scott Bloomquist, he's never really run. I think I've seen him on iRacing twice before. Somebody just had a picture of him on their rig. He never had a rig. Still doesn't really have a rig of his own. He borrowed the one he's got from Charlotte Motor Speedway. They let him borrow theirs until this all goes back and they can get to running. But it was cool to see. Now, he didn't do too good in that race, but I've seen a couple more races he's run. And it was cool to see. No, he didn't run up front, but he got on there and could handle the car.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas Jimmy Johnson got on at Homestead the other week, and I mean just bad.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, firsthand, I can promise you right now, a Cup car at Homestead, Miami is night and day different and a whole lot easier to drive and handle than a super late model on dirt. That's a fact. That is 100% a fact.
Promise you.
So I don't really know what, but I have heard Scott say how realistic and how the same the on throttle and all that and handle it. Because like we've said before, a lot of them, they drive with the throttle, of course. So you're constantly on and off throttle in the corners to steer those cars. And he said it's very, very similar to how it really is. And he's a bottom feeder. He loves the bottom. And I've watched him the other week. Yeah, he didn't run that great, but he was dead in the bottom. He was running right there. So it's obviously very similar to how it really is in real life.
That's cool. Moving on from the sprint race, they went to the late model race on Fox last week, and our South Carolina boy Trent Ivey took it home there. He dominated the super late model, something serious.
Yeah, once he got out front, he was gone, man. He looked great. The car looked good, and how he managed the groove was impressive as well. That's like I said, that's tough to do. I wish I could do it as well as they could. That's tough, but Old Kyle Larson did good in both races. He come up, I don't know, he finished pretty high up there.
I think he finished
4th, 5th.
third or fourth or something
like
around
that
there
in the super late race.
late model.
So.
He started a lot farther back in that one though.
Yeah, he did well too.
He runs a lot more of those 410 sprints on there than he does the super lates.
He did well. I'm looking forward to seeing him tonight, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing him, and I've heard it. They were planning on doing it again this year. Old Kyle Larson was going to drive a Bloomquist car in real life last year, and I think he broke his shoulder or broke his ribs.
Yeah, he got
in a wreck somewhere
up at Talladega, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was. So they had to cancel that test. They were going to do it at Charlotte, matter of fact.
Yeah.
Then he was going to do it. There was talks of him doing it again this year, and now all this transpires. I don't know, but I'd love to see Kyle run him a super late model soon, especially for Scott. That'd be cool.
Well, speaking of people running for Scott, a little bit of news coming out today, actually. When everything goes back racing, I don't even know if you saw this earlier, you might have. When they go back to racing, Shannon Babb is going to be in a Bloomquist car. He has moved over. He ran Scott stuff when Scott was out. What was that? Last year for a little while. He ran a couple races for him. So that was cool. But he's run Rockets here the last few years. And so I'm glad to see him moving over to the Bloomquist side. We're trying to get some more and more drivers over there. We need some more. Need some more good name drivers over here running the Bloomquist stuff, and looks like we're getting a few.
Well, I heard something about it. I don't know if it's true, but I heard something about Stormy Scott and them was moving chassis. I don't know. I hadn't heard for sure, but I heard they were out of the Bloomquist cars.
It wouldn't surprise me. I saw something. I saw they were selling off a bunch of cars. I don't know if they just getting new models, because I think Scott and them was building a pile of cars while we're down, which is what he need to do. He just needs to get in there and build as many chassis as he can. I don't know if they were getting new cars or if they were selling out and getting away from the Bloomquist stuff. Now, in saying that, it wouldn't surprise me, because for whatever reason, they have not wrapped their hands around the Bloomquist stuff since they've had it. But Stormy Scott, in my opinion, he was an awesome modified driver. Still is an awesome modified driver. And the modifieds are a good bit different than a super late model, obviously. I mean, complete different tire setup. I mean, just...
Right.
It's a complete different animal. And he's had some good races in it. I mean, but he just hadn't... It's not a week-to-week thing with him, so I don't know what's going on with that.
Well, hey, maybe it'll give him a good change, and that'll help him a lot. Now, who knows? But anyway, so it was really cool to watch the World of Outlaw series on Fox, and the voice of the World of Outlaws called it right along with Mike Joy and
no, not Mike Joy.
Jeff Gordon and
was it Alec Cavallo?
Alex, whoever it was, and Clint Boyd was on there too, I believe. So, but anyway, Jeff Gordon's really getting into this. He loves iRacing, and he's pushing it pretty hard. So I'm
surprised he hadn't been on the rig yet. I really am.
I can see him coming up here soon.
I don't know why he wouldn't. I mean, Junior's come out of retirement. I say come out of retirement. He ain't really come out of retirement. That's a good thing about it. I mean, them boys can get in and drive it. They ain't taking a chance of getting hurt. I mean, so why not run it?
That's right.
They need to put Jeff on the rig one time, and I think Clint's got his own rig at his house. Let Clint run his own rig and let Jeff run the in-studio one.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I'd love to see that. So we're going to see tonight, which it'll be after the fact. But Wednesday night, right now, we're going 8 o'clock, I think. They're going to have Knoxville live on Fox for the 410 sprints and the super late. So that'd be good to see. Looking forward to that. But
yeah, we recorded a little bit earlier this week than we did last week, so we ain't got it live on here to call it play-by-play. It's probably a good thing, because we got sidetracked a good bit.
Yeah, we did. I definitely did.
I mean, they're racing on. I got to watch it. I don't care what it is.
I apologize. But,
and it's so cool. I know that's not off topic. This is iRacing. It's so cool about iRacing, though, because every other sport, baseball, football, which football ain't going. Well, the XFL was supposed to be going, but baseball, football, basketball, everything is completely shut down. You don't see none of the athletes out. You don't see them doing nothing. So that's where racing is so much different than any other major sport, because it's so cool, because there are these simulators. I think golf ought to be doing the same thing. I mean, they got golf simulators. They could easily link up and play courses, show them playing. I mean,
oh yeah, they definitely could.
And but iRacing has actually, is brought the sports world something when there was nothing. So,
well, they've been pushing this, and NBC Sports has before all this coronavirus deal that's going on, they've been pushing some of this iRacing stuff. But I'm glad that now finally it has. I hate it took this to get it to this point, but I'm glad they finally got the recognition that they have gotten. But just the other day, for instance, typically when David and myself run, the number of members that's on the site is always got that listed. So typically it's around 4,000 to 5,000. If there's a new build that comes out, like if it's a new track or a new car that comes up, it might jump up to 6,000 or something like that. But Monday, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, there was 15,000 members on site, which is unbelievable. So it has jumped up tremendously for the amount of people that's on there now. So I'm telling you, man, everybody that's listening, if you don't have it, you need to get it. You'll love it.
Yeah, it's got something for everybody on there. You don't just and I guess this is what they need to show a little more. Is people are looking at it and they see just the cup cars, or they see the dirt cars, the 410 sprints, or the super late models. And what people do need to know about iRacing is that's not where you start at on there. You can get in what they call a hosted race. It's a long process, but you can get in what they call a hosted race and you can run all these cars, yeah. But if you do what they call the official races on there, you actually have to move up license classes. And in each license class, you can only drive certain cars. So it takes you a while. The cup car on the asphalt side and the super late models and the 410s on the dirt side are the A-class cars there. Now, below that, that's where there's really, and a lot of times, it's a lot more fun races sometimes. Now, Sterling's got a little different opinion of that right now.
I do.
We've always, me and him have always enjoyed they got like what they consider a K&N car on there, which is kind of an arc. It's actually just the older cup car. They've decreased the horsepower in it a little bit, but it was the cup car when iRacing started. So they got that car on there, and they've changed it to a K&N car. And those have typically been more fun races up until, and I hate to say this, it's kind of a double-edged sword, all these people getting on there, because now you got a bunch of people getting on there really quick, and they don't really know what they're doing on there. They don't really know a lot about driving, but they know they see it on TV, and they know that they can get it for a few $100 if they got a decent computer already, and they get on there and they spin out and take everybody out, which actually, on iRacing, if you don't know anything about it, they have license class, like I just said, and they have what they call iRating. In the license class, you have a safety rating, and that safety rating is if you hit anything, if you spin out,
if somebody hits you, which I don't like,
or if somebody hits you, it hurts your safety rating. So,
which prevents you from moving up class.
And Sterling used to have an A license. Well, he got in some wrecks, stuff on there. Actually lost the A license, went back down to a B in the asphalt side, and started running some lower races. And now he's getting took out about every time.
Yeah, I'm holding on to a B, but I'm trying to get back to A, but it is tough. But yeah, you run that ARCA car, it's a D class race. So anybody with a C or a B or a A even can go down and run the D class. You can't run rookie, but you can run D class. Well, that's a good, easy, quick race you can get in. A lot of times they don't throw cautions in those races. So, right. Typically, like me the other night, I was running second, no problem at Dover, running great, out of the way of everybody. And a damn idiot that don't know what he's doing, excuse me, I'm sorry, but he don't know what he's doing, just cuts right down the middle of the racetrack.
A lap car.
Yeah, a lapper, but cuts right down in the middle of the corner and takes you out and just don't care, just does not care. And that's what sucks about it, running official stuff, because you're trying to get your ratings back up to get your A license. But anyway, you basically have to pretty much, you got to run what class you're in. So if you run a B class, you basically really and truly need to run B class races, which I did today, Chicagoland. I did last night, actually. Ran one last night, qualified pole, dropped back a little bit, finished 5th. That helped my rating a lot. Ran one today, qualified pole, dropped back a little bit, come back up, actually won the race. So that helps a lot. And there was very little cautions in it. Seems like the people that higher up naturally have a little better idea of what's going on. They give and take a little bit, but anyway, all in there is fun. I like running official stuff better because they do take a little bit more emphasis in what they're doing. Like David said earlier, you can run hosted stuff. We can make up a race and run to Southern 500 if we want to at Darlington
with a Formula One car.
With a Formula One car, if we want. It don't make no difference. And whoever hosts it can make it set up if they want to run just A class members or rookie to A class. It don't matter. So, but anyway, you get on there and you're not going to hurt your safety rating or your I rating. So people just take you out. They don't care, and
yeah,
that's what kind of sucks about that part of it. But they have leagues you can run. We've ran leagues. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, we can get caught up into this forever. But
this actually brings me to a couple things. Actually, one, you're talking about running hosted racing stuff. I don't know where it's going to be broadcast at yet. We're trying to figure it out. We were going to plug it on here some tonight, but there's not been an official announcement, I guess you say, or whatever. From anyway, we're going to run. Me and Sterling have entered a race Saturday night. I think he's going to start it at 7 o'clock. I think the room starts at 7. Clint Mills, the owner of Possum Kingdom Super Speedway, which is a go-kart track, and Fast Track Speedway up there in Bennettsville, South Carolina. Trying to remember where Possum Kingdom is. It's upstate somewhere. Belton or something like that, South Carolina, I think it is. Anyway, Clint Mills has put on a race on iRacing. It's a hosted race, and it was you pay to enter just like anything else. I mean, just like a regular race that you go to on Saturday night, you pay to enter, and he's paying $500 to win. And it was the first 43 people that signed up. Me and Sterling are both going to run it. So look around come Saturday night. See if you can find it. Hopefully we'll get where it's broadcast. I'll post it on our social media pages if we find out. So y'all check that out. If you can't get that, if it don't ever come up, anything come through, check out the Super Select Series again. Our boy Derek Griffith this past week run again at where were they at? Lucas Oil Speedway. That's where it was. IRP, right. As I always call it. Anyway, he ran better this week. He ended up in the main this week. Made his way up, I want to say, to about 25th. They got a rule in this in that series that you cannot take tires. You can take fuel, you can repair your damage, but you cannot take tires. Well, when you frustrated and stuff, it's very easy, because what happens is on there, if you don't know, what happens is every time you go out the pits, it automatically turns your tires thing on to get tires again for the next time. So you have to manually go in and cut it off each time you cut them out the pits. Well, he didn't cut it off one time. He went in and got tires by accident, and they disqualified him for it. But anyway, so he ran better, but he, sporting the Chicken Bone Alley logos on there.
Yes, sir, but he's getting there. Like I say, he's got a lot to learn. Crap, the stuff he's got to do now in this Select Series is stuff I probably won't even remember. So, and I've been running for a long time, so it's a lot to keep up with while you're in the car.
Well, when you're the driver, crew chief,
yes, it's a lot.
The engineer and everything, it becomes a lot to keep up with a lot of times. That's why me and Sterling on there together a lot of times. We have to remind each other of all this stuff. Like running this race we're gonna run, we'll have to remind each other. Watch out going on pit road, because it's easy to speed, especially if we end up having any green flag stops. It's a 200 lap race. Very possible we have some green flag stops.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful. You got to bide your time. on there. It's all fun, but if you do get it, guys, go in there and try to take it a little serious, because it gets people out the mood of racing. It takes the fun out of it a lot of times if you don't take it serious. And everybody understands accidents happen, just like anywhere else. But try to take it serious. If you get on there and wreck a guy, at least tell him you're sorry. Tell him you didn't mean to.
Right, and that's why I'm hoping with this race coming up here on Saturday night. Everybody's paying $30 to enter. I feel like that most everybody's gonna take it serious. I know Elliott Sadler's gonna run it. Austin Yarborough, which is just running go-karts and very, very, very good running all dirt around here anyway. So there'll be a lot of other good guys in this race. I would say Twitch maybe will have it on if nothing else.
Probably somebody on Twitch, I'm assuming.
If we find it, or if David find whatever, if we find it on Twitch or anything else, he'll share the link to where you can go on and watch it. I don't know if anybody will be broadcasting it, calling the race. At least you'll be able to watch it. It'd be really cool to be able to see that. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's going to be at Darlington, and so which I love. I love that track. It's a very, very difficult track to run, especially as tire wear takes place, which it takes about 10-15 laps, and you start dropping lap times pretty quick. But I don't know if it's going to be day or night yet. We don't know, but I know it's going to be a fixed setup, which means you can do nothing to the car, like David said last week, but your steering offset, your ratio, and your brake bias a little bit. But anyway, we'll see what happens there. Looking forward to running with them guys some.
I think Elliott Sadler's going to run with us on there. He ran this past week, so
yeah, we're going to see if we can hang. I don't know, man.
See if we can hang with the old retiree out there.
He's always been good at Darlington. We'll see what he can do here.
He put a message on there today. He said it was a great choice.
Oh, God. He's going to probably kill us.
He's probably practicing all week. What else he got to do?
Yeah, I know it. So we'll see what happens. I love Darlington. I'm pretty good at running at Darlington. I like the new tire model that they have, which is a very realistic tire model. The fall off is very realistic, and how you have to conserve your tire is very realistic. So it helps us a lot. It helps actual drivers a lot versus just sim racers that never experienced tire wear throughout a run. It's really hurting those guys. So I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna see what happens, man. I don't know. Hey, we might surprise ourselves. You don't never know.
We might could do good at it. You get enough practice up here while you retired this week.
Hey, I'm retired this week. I'm gonna try to get a little bit more in tomorrow and be ready, and hopefully Friday too. We'll see what happens.
You got another few days of retirement, and you got to come back out of retirement. And
thank the good Lord. That's all I can say. I want to work. Trust me, I want to work.
Oh, pretty cool. I told Sterling earlier. I've been wanting them for years. And we talked about it on here. I finally broke down and ordered me 3 new monitors the other day. They are supposed to be here Thursday. They just comes out. So I'm going to have me a new setup, which might not be a good thing going into this race. I might not have it adjusted right yet.
It can't do nothing but help you, bud. Can't do nothing but help you.
So we'll see. But going in, because there's going to be cup cars we running. Let's go ahead and talk about the actual iRacing Cup race that happened this past week.
The Wreckfest.
The Wreckfest. Jesus.
Yeah, we was a little screwed up last week. We didn't really understand the whole breakdown of the deal. We was under the understanding they were going to run heat races on Saturday at some point. We just didn't know when, and the main would be Sunday live on at 1:00 on Fox. Well, we were a little wrong on that. They actually ran those prior to the race.
Yeah,
on Sunday.
And Saturday night they actually ran it was essentially the Xfinity drivers, Xfinity drivers, truck drivers, and some ARCA guys. And they ran the car we talked about earlier, what we consider the K&N, well, not K&N anymore, the ARCA Menards car, which is, they ran that, but was kind of messed up because, just like, say, Derek Griffin, he wouldn't be able to run it because the guys that were, I say he wouldn't, I'm not sure how far that went down, because he drives a Ford in the his ARCA series, and Ford come down and told the Ford drivers they could not run that series, or they could not run the replacement series, which is something kind of TJ Majors put together, but they were running street stocks this past week. And the reason being is because the car that they have scanned on there for the ARCA Menard car is a Chevrolet.
Right.
And the street stock was a Camaro.
Right.
And so the Ford reps or executives, whatever, aren't letting them run.
Well, for one, I think honestly by now they should put more emphasis in those lower tier cars. And I know iRacing got those cars, but those cars were scanned a long time ago.
That was one of Dale Jr. street stocks that they scanned years ago.
Right. So, I don't know if they really kind of, I'm not bashing iRacing by no means. I'm just saying, in my opinion, they kind of forgot about the lower tier cars, and they're just there. We'll just keep them like they are. But I think they need to update those as well.
Yeah.
They update the Cup car every year. They update the Indy car every year to whatever. So update the old street stock. Put a new style street stock in there. Put a Ford. Put a whatever. I don't care. But they need to update that a little bit. I'm not taking up for Ford by no means, because I kind of figured with the trade and paint deal, which is an overlay, a paint scheme that you can get and put on the car on iRacing. I kind of figured they could paint a scheme.
They can, as long as they put a Ford logo on it, because you can take all the logos off the car.
Exactly.
I think as long as they put a Ford logo on it, then what's it hurt? Right. Got a big blue oval on it. They put a big blue oval on the hood.
Whoever wanted that, but I mean, but anyway, I don't know. I hate that. I hate they can't run because they're driving Ford or whatever. But I think iRacing needs to put a little more emphasis in getting some more cars in those series though. But we'll see what happens with that. I'm sure they will if they know that they're limiting people from running it. They'll do something. They'll come up with something.
Yeah, it just stinks because it takes them so long to get it on there, and by the time they get it on there, because they were just talking about basically they've already got Nashville and North Wilkesboro already scanned to go in, but it's probably going to be mid-late summer before they're able to get it on there. And God, I hope so. All this stuff is over and they're back to regular racing. I know Dale Jr. said today, somebody asked, did he think that once regular racing started back, any of this would keep up? He said no. He said he didn't think so, because I could definitely see where the Cup drivers would not do it. Just because they can on Saturdays or Sundays, obviously, so they can't. But if they'd done it, it had to be a midweek thing, and especially with what we've seen, what might be the schedule coming back out, there's going to be no hope for it. But the only thing I thought about was that replacement series. There's not many Cup drivers in there. Not many Xfinity drivers. There's mostly spotters.
Crew chief.
Yeah. Dale Jr.'s running it. I mean, he's retired.
No reason he couldn't run it, especially
That'd be a cool Tuesday night thing to do for most time. Now, I know like I said, there's going to be some midweek stuff coming up. They're not going to be able to, but that'd be a cool thing to keep up. But what I thought about today was and I know there's a lot of people getting on it just because they're seeing it. But Sterling can tell you this: there's not many times you get on iRacing and can race with any of those guys.
No, it's
very few and far between. They need to put something together. If they don't do nothing but random draw 10 regular iRacers, not any race car affiliated people, just put 10 regular racers in the race with you each week. See how they could do it. Regular iRacers, anyway. And I don't know. Maybe something to think about. I don't know. Just because people, that's what people get on there for a lot of times. Now it's because they see it and they're like, oh, well, maybe I can get on there and race with them guys. There's a slight chance you can. I've raced with Kyle Larson before. I've raced with
Eric Jones.
Quite a good bit. Raced with Rico Abreu a lot. He's on there a lot. But he's not in anything but sprint cars and stuff now. But other than that, you don't really see TJ Majors on there every now and then.
Well, Well, every time you see them on, most of the time they're on a hosted session that's locked.
A private session, and you got to have a password to get in it. And
you can't run with them.
I guess, and I know a lot of people are fans and they want to just talk their ear off and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I mean, I can understand it, but
anyway, we kind of digress a little bit.
Well, let's talk about the Wreck Fest. How about that?
Let's talk about the Wreck Fest. Let's talk about that thing on Sunday. They ran the heat races. From the heat races, they didn't throw any cautions in the heat races. There was going to be no cautions. Well, because of that, those guys ran fairly clean for the most part in the heat races. I mean, there was a few wrecks here and there, but it wasn't nothing. It didn't look like anything egregious. It just looked like they were just racing the ones that happened in there. Well, they lined all up after that, started the race. Dude, there was freaking 12 cautions.
It was a pile of cautions.
A very short amount of
laps or whatever it was, yeah.
I don't remember how many laps it was. I couldn't hardly watch it. It was just...
Well,
they said longest run was like 3 or 4 laps. I mean, it was horrible.
I hate that because they're trying to make iRacing a big thing and televise it live. You cannot do that on live television constantly. And
no, you're making it look bad. You're making it look bad. Terrible. And I can tell you, now, don't get me wrong, I've been in some, say, truck races, the C class, which is, it's a kind of that's a midway class on iRacing. And I've been in some truck races, per se, and there be a lot of cautions. But most of the time, when you get in a cup race, an official cup race on iRacing,
you don't have
not many cautions. Maybe
very
a couple
little.
On restart. Somebody get in somebody and spin them out on accident. But there's not many cautions because, we've all gone up through license classes and we've learned how to drive those cars. That's why I almost hate them putting the cup drivers in the hardest car to drive on there when most of them have never run it on there.
Yeah, I got a lot to learn. And Bristol ain't easy, by no means. But I just think they just don't take it seriously. Me, if I'm running on Fox and my sponsor that sponsors me and pays me to drive a real race car, and the least I can do in this downtime to protect my sponsors and to show my sponsors off is to get on there and take something seriously for a freaking hour.
Well, they turned in 3 hours.
Well, they turned in 3 hours. But that ain't that hard to do. And, they ain't doing nothing else. They don't have to work by no means. So what else they going to do? Sit at home during the week, practice, run laps, practice.
I mean, I know a lot of them are family guys, and they want to spend while they're off. They want to spend time with their family. But
I get that. But you got obligation. You still got obligation. You still got sponsors paying you, most of them anyway. But a lot of these guys don't take it seriously, and to the effect of not taking it seriously, some of them's going to lose the sponsorship.
Well, let's talk about the biggest happening of the whole race. It wasn't the biggest happening of the whole race was not William Byron winning that race because that was kind of expected almost because he smoked everybody out there.
Well, he's due. I mean, he ran up front every race they've had so far this year. He's due. Yeah.
So the biggest happening of this race was Bubba doing what they call, I guess, gamers call. I don't know. I don't call it that. I don't consider myself a gamer just because I run iRacing. But they call it rage quitting. And basically, he got mad. He had already used up his 2 fast repairs in 15 laps. They had run 15 laps this race, and he had already used up both fast repairs. Tells you how bad it was. Clint Boyer come across his nose, coming out the corner. And Bubba did not lift, did not give him any room. That's what we're talking about on iRacing, that you got to be respectful of people. Just like in real life, if they come out the corner and they know they barely got a nose up beside somebody on the outside, they typically will back off just a little bit and give them room. iRacing, no, they don't do it. Not the guys on the cup. They will not back off. They're there. It's like, it ain't going to hurt me, so I'm going to be right here. But they're going to get mad about getting wrecked. Well, when it went in the corner, Clint somehow didn't spin out, but he just took it on the bottom. It had put Bubba all in the wall. Well, they come out, went in the corner. Clint went in the bottom of the corner and never let up and just crammed Bubba in the wall. Well, at that point, Bubba said, I'm done. Cut everything off. He said, this is why I don't take this stuff this game seriously and all this stuff, and got out of it. Well, Blue Emu had been sponsoring Garrett Smithley for a few weeks on here. Blue Emu has been one of Richard Petty's sponsors for a long time. They done it. I mean, they went out and sponsored Garrett Smithley because they couldn't typically be a primary sponsor on a car. They've always been a associate sponsor, but they've never been a primary sponsor. Well, they come up just like we've done with Derek Griffith on a car. We can't afford to go out and sponsor a real race car. Not to that extent anyway, not to a higher level like that. Well, they went out, paid them some money. From what I understand, they paid them some money, or they worked out stuff with their teams and stuff, and they were the primary sponsor on these cars for the races. Well, Bubba made it 15 laps and just up and quit. Well, they've been an associate sponsor on his car for a long time, and especially with Richard Petty, way before Bubba came along. Well, from what Twitter looks like, is he has lost a sponsor.
Oh, yeah. They're done. The Blue Emu is done with, I think as long as Bubba Wallace is running one of Richard Petty's cars, I think Blue Emu ain't going to be back. He was talking bad about him, talking about he was like his 13-year-old son.
Yeah.
And all that. Great. Now, I don't know, man.
Well, they like racers, not quitters.
Yeah. To back the whole thing up, start with, for the first thing of it, yeah, I think Bubba should have let up and give Clint some room, because that's what you have to do. When I'm running iRacing and I'm struggling or whatever, and I got somebody catching me and running me down a second a lap, why in the hell would I give them struggle to pass me? There's no reason for it. Now, if we run at equal laps times, if we run into consistently equal times, and I'm trying to save tires, I'm trying to save, and track position's key, yeah, I'm going to give them a little bit of a fit. But if somebody's running me down and catching me, I'm going to pull up the track and let them go. That's just the way I do it. And that's the way everybody should do it. And you get into A class, that's the way most of them do race you. Well, like David said, there's not the hurt factor. There's not the damage factor as much.
There's not the face-to-face factor. That's the biggest thing. Ain't nobody going to get out of the car and whip your tail.
Exactly. Now, so Bubba did not let up. So Bubba put him in the wall. Well, I don't like that part. I also don't like the fact that Clint Boyer is the in-race reporter running for Fox in the Fox studio and going to just power drive somebody in the corner like that. That don't look good either.
No.
So,
there was not a right party in this.
No, there's not. So, I really hope that they all figure it out and take it seriously. Just take it seriously. That's all I'm asking for all of them to do, because it puts on a great race. And the top 5, 6, 7, 10 even in the past 3 races have taken it very seriously. And it's put on for some great races. All of them that's run top 10 has put on some great races. And the past 3, before Bristol, 2, whatever it was, before Bristol, has been side by side for the finish.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, they can put on a really good show, and they can get a lot of viewers on Fox and NBC, SN, whatever. Just need the rest of the field to take it seriously. Daniel Suarez trying to wreck every damn body every time he gets on the racetrack does not look good for him. And the sponsors, I think now, everybody's got a wake-up call, especially these lower-tier drivers that are searching for sponsorship and hunting for sponsorship and praying that they can make it race to race. I think they're going to start waking up and say, you know what, I really need to take this seriously, because this might influence what I get on the racetrack as well. Yeah,
it really might. So I don't know what's going to happen with Bubba there. He might be lost a sponsor. He might not. It sounds like they're done. Now, who knows? I mean, Richard's been with him a long time, and so maybe they can get in a conference room once all this is said and done and work it out and everything. And
I don't know, but I mean, Bubba's Bubba, dude. This ain't the first time Bubba's been doing this. He throws little temper tantrums all the damn time. I like Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, he's a great. I really think he's a great driver.
He's a great driver.
When he was in trucks, he's Xfinity, he ran good.
He's a cool fella. I mean, he interacts with the fans. That's great. he just gets his little damn temper tantrum, and he's just got to chill the hell out.
Yeah,
He's got
Darlington,
a whole lot better than a lot of
right
others.
there with us throwing a
promise you.
football. I mean, he's a cool
Because there's a lot of people I know that can drive a race car very well and don't have the opportunities that he has had. So I think he really needs to take that into consideration and be thankful for what he's got and take a little time to show emphasis in the sponsorship a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. And don't get me wrong. We want to see emotion. We like to see emotion. We don't want everybody to be, as they say, vanilla. But we don't want to see 5-year-olds out there either.
There's a very fine line there that
there's a line of being a man and showing emotion, and then also acting like a 5-year-old and just kicking and screaming and pitching a fit because things didn't go your way. I mean, I don't know. It's something else.
Well, we'll see what happens. Got another race coming up this weekend.
Yeah, well,
nowhere off this weekend. I guess.
Junior said on the Dale Junior Download that they were still going to put together something that might run because everybody's at home anyway, not going nowhere.
Oh, really? Well,
normally they take Easter break, don't race on Easter, and I mean, I 100% agree with that. But I mean, they said everybody's going to be home, so it ain't like they're going nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to transpire. I reckon we'll see. Hey, who knows? But
turn it on Fox. Something might be on. Who
something
knows?
might happen. You never know. But we're going to be
Future.
there. We're going to be running on Saturday night. Hopefully everybody can, somehow or another, we can get it all posted where that's going to run and who's going to televise it or announce it or call a race, whatever. I'd like for everybody to check that out. Like I say, I know we're going to have Elliott Sadler. I know we're going to have Austin Yarborough. I know there's going to be a bunch of other ones that's going to jump in there with us and see what we can do with them.
Yeah, it'll be fun, and we'll see if I can make it around Darlington. That's not typically one of my best tracks by no means. It's pretty good for Sterling. I'm not too cozy there myself. I love her. I like the track. I can't be consistent on it, so we'll see. But anyway, what else we got?
Man, I don't know. I think that's about it, really. Like David said, the TJ Majors put together the little replacements deal. They run, I think, on Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
On NBCSN, I think. I don't know if they cover it live.
Well, no.
Don't really know.
They're running it on Twitch.
Okay.
They've actually come out with another little short track deal that is an invitational, and there's so many guys that run it. There's only like a handful of people that's running it. Dale Jr.'s in one. I think Matt Benedetto. There's a bunch of Cup drivers, but they're doing just short track stuff.
Yeah. And
trying to cover some of the where NBC was trying to cover the grassroots things.
Right.
They're trying to show some of those tracks on that. And so they're trying to still cover the grassroots stuff right now. I guess they're just not taking the thunder away from Fox because this is Fox time of year for the big series. So who knows? But they're doing that, and it's kind of a playoff type deal. And they keep whoever the top so many go from each race into this race, and then they have one big race at the end.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens there. But anyway, last night they ran at Myrtle Beach, the replacements race, and like I say, TJ Major was in it.
Ty Majeski, what I saw, he was checking out on it.
Yeah, he took off, but Dale Jr. ran in it. Kevin Harvick ran in it. Bunch of them. There was Kyle Busch was in it. A bunch of them was in it. Ran street stocks at Myrtle Beach, like I say. So that was from what I saw of it, was a wreck fest. But I think that was a pretty good race towards the end. They kind of spread out a little bit and it made it pretty interesting. But there's so many series that they have televised and on Twitch or on iRacing TV thing that they do or whatever.
Or eNASCAR.com.
Yeah, there's so many going on now. It's hard to cover all of them. So I know a lot of Cup drivers are running all these things now. I'm just going to get there, trying to get out a little bit. But actually, it's 8:03, so the World of Outlaws is going to be coming on live here in a minute. So we got to get up off here so we can check that out.
Yep, we got to get on here and check it out and get this podcast published out to y'all. But anyway, well, guys, I hope y'all have a good rest of the week. Hope y'all enjoy some racing on TV and on your computer, and get out and play in your yard. Be careful. Don't let the man see you, I reckon. I don't know what the deal is. But anyway, y'all have a good...
He wants to.
Yeah, I know. That's what I say too. Even with that bush hog you got out there.
I'm going to get him, son.
Oh, anyway, guys. Well, y'all take it easy. I'm out.
Later.